SHMACKEMAGOB! What's up, everybody? It's me. And I've been wanting to do this video for a long time now, but I know this one's going to be a pain in the ass. A long process. I can't do it in one shot because it'll be a 10-hour video. I've been to a lot of concerts, and in this book right here, I have all my ticket stubs that I still have. I've lost a lot of my ticket stubs, especially the early shows I went to. Like my first show, Cheap Trick and the Rockets, I lost that. That was May 18th, 1979 at Miami Highlight. I lost that ticket. My second show, I lost that ticket as well, was at the same venue, the Miami Highlight. It was the Cars. But I found it online. Somebody posted their ticket online. That's what it looked like. Another show I went to that I lost a ticket, where I found the ticket online as well, was the Black Sabbath at the same place, Miami Highlight, 1980, with Johnny Van Zant Band and Riot opening up the Narita tour. And I guess when I go through the books, I'll find bands where I've seen them before and I lost their tickets, and I'll discuss them as we go along. I remember Ted Nugent with Pat Travers and an unknown band called the Scorpions, in America that is. Animal Magnetism tour, Crash and Burn, Scream Dream, that was a great one. Nazareth with Blackfoot, that was the first show I saw Pyro. Creatures of the Night tour with Plasmatics, I lost that ticket. You know, I lost even tickets later on, you know, even like, I mean, I don't have that many concert tickets today because they're all printed out. And I do have a lot of those papers that I may share when I get to that time. I don't know how many parts this series is going to be, because I'm going to be talking about each show when I go through the tickets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that camera right there and point it down here and zoom in on the tickets, because, you know, it's impossible for me to say. And then there's this show. You won't be able to see it. So I'm going to zoom in and talk with my camera in my hand. So let's do this. All right, here we go. That one right there, Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz. That was with Randy Rhoads and Def Leppard Open, High and Dry Tour. This is the oldest ticket I still have. And next year, September 11th, 9/11, it'll be a 40-year-old ticket. Then, and by the way, that was awesome. And I snuck up all the way up front, on front of Randy Rhoads and Pete Willis that night. It was very easy to sneak up at the Sunrise Musical Theater. Van Halen, this was the Diver Down Tour. Now, here's the thing. I saw Van Halen 2 times before this, so I lost those tickets too. Women and Children First, I had second row. Fair Warning, I had nosebleeds. Fair Warning was the greatest show I ever saw in my life. This was an awesome show too, 1982. The one thing I remember, I mean, Van Halen just was the best damn live band ever. And one thing I remember about this show was they played that song, I think it was Emerson, Lake and Palmer, "Ooh, what a lucky man he was," right before they came on stage, and they played it so loud it was deafening. And another thing, December 10th, 1982, I lost a ticket because the day before this, on December 9th, was Judas Priest at the Sunrise Musical Theater with Uriah Heep, and Van Halen played December 9th and 10th at the Sporto, so I was lucky they played 2 nights, so I didn't get to miss the Diver Down Tour. Next, Ozzy Osbourne with Vandenberg. Now this was, and I wrote in Vandenberg, as you can see. I do that with some of my tickets. This was the Speak of the Devil tour, but it wasn't Brad Gillis. It was Jakey Lee. Jakey Lee was already in the band. And the only song they played from Speak of the Devil that night, well, obviously the, you know, Iron Man, Paranoid, and Children of the Grave, which is what he was playing all along with Randy Rhoads. But they threw in Fairies Wear Boots. Good show. Ozzy had short hair. Alright, next, Iron Maiden with Quiet Riot. That was the first time Iron Maiden came to South Florida. That was the Peace of Mind tour. They played, what's the name of that last song? To Tame a Land. I don't think they ever played it after that. Quiet Riot was amazing that night. And you know, at that time, 1983, all the stars aligned for Quiet Riot. And Iron Maiden. It was cool show, man, 1983. Not the best time I saw Maiden, though. Then the Police. I wonder if I have all this in order. Hopefully. The Police at the Orange Bowl. This was the only time I saw the Police. This was a Synchronicity tour. Opening was the Fix and the New Animals. And it was amazing. I love the Police, and it was the one and only time I ever got to see them. All right, then AC/DC with Fastway. Okay, I lost my ticket for those about to rock tour, which was the first time I saw AC/DC. Second time was this one with it was the Flick of the Switch tour. Amazing, best time I ever saw them with Brian Johnson. AC/DC with Fastway. All right, then Kiss. This was the Lick It Up tour. Now this is the only show that I've been to where I forgot the opening act was Pat Travers. I always thought it was John Butcher, Axis, and Axe. It turns out it was Axe and Pat Travers. Don't remember Pat Travers that night. But anyway, yeah, with Vinnie Vincent. But I saw Creatures of the Night tour, as I said earlier, and I lost that ticket. Van Halen 1984 with Autograph. And Autograph did not have an album out yet. And I believe, I could be wrong, maybe you guys can do your research, I believe they opened the tour at the Sportatorium. Phenomenal show. Unbelievable. All right, then Ozzy Osbourne with Motley Crue. Now look closely. That's front row. Look at that. Row 1. I had front row seats on Jakey Lee's side and Mick Mars' side. Remind me one day to talk about the Ozziers, because this guy that was the leader of the Ozziers bought the whole first row and sold it to us. Amazing time. That was a hell of a show. Motley Crue was on fire, man. Shout at the devil. Can't get better than that. And Ozzy was amazing that night. That was a really good show. All right, then we got Judas Priest, Hollywood Sportatorium, Defenders of the Faith. Opening act was Kick Axe from Canada. Judas Priest, another, like one of the greatest bands ever to see live, especially in the 80s. Unbelievable show with the big Metallian. Fuck yeah. Then the Scorpions with Bon Jovi. The one and only time I saw Bon Jovi, and they were fucking horrendous. I knew a little Runaway or whatever that song was, and I just thought they sucked so bad. And I remember John Bon Jovi catering to the crowd, talking about the Dolphins, trying to get a reaction. But the Scorpions were amazing. First time I saw them headline, as I said earlier, I saw them open for Ted Nugent. Scorpions, Love at First Sting tour. Twisted Sister, what a show this was. Sunrise Musical Theater with Y&T and Dokken. I told this story before, and I'll say it again. Sunrise Musical Theater was very close to Sneak Up Front. I'm all the way up front, and when they were doing Burn in Hell, you know, the beginning when he's like, when you go down, 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 I screamed from the top of my lungs. I'm right up front, and I yell, you're gonna burn in hell! And D stops, looks right at me, points at me, and he says, that's my line, asshole. And then he points at me, he goes, you're gonna burn in hell. That was fucking awesome. All right, then Billy Squier with Rat. Rat destroyed Billy Squier that night. Destroyed him. Billy Squier was kind of like on his way out. I like Billy Squier. You know, I wasn't like a big fan. I was a casual fan. But I mainly went for Rat because I love Out of the Cellar. That album was so good. And they were so good that night. Billy Squier, and I had sex with a stranger in the nosebleeds. Long story. During Billy Squier's set. But Rat was good. Best time I ever saw Rat. Ronnie James Dio with Dokken. This, West Palm Beach Auditorium. Same place I saw Creatures of the Night. This was hands down the best time I ever saw Dio. A lot of people talk about the Dragon, you know, the Sacred Heart tour. I thought this stage show was even better. They had a big snake, and Vivian Campbell had a glow-in-the-dark guitar during his guitar solo. Setlist was awesome. Egypt Chains Are On. And Dokken was great. Tooth and Nail, my favorite Dokken album. This was one of the best shows I saw in the 80s. Dio Last in Line tour. Quiet Riot with Wasp. Now this was Condition Critical. Wasp was on their first album. Wasp was amazing. I took a lot of pictures at that show. Maybe I'll show them to you one day. I gotta scan them. But I was so into that first Wasp album at the time. Quiet Riot was good that night, but you could tell there was tension on the stage. Rudy Sarzo, reading his book, he agreed to do the tour, but he was gonna quit after the tour. So you know they weren't as good as they were when they opened for Iron Maiden, but they were good. But Wasp owned that show. All right, that's the end of first page. Now we flip to the second page. Kiss with Crocus. I went both nights, but I lost one of the tickets. They played 2 nights at Sunrise Musical Theaters. This was the Animalized tour. It wasn't Mark St. John, it was Bruce Kulick. And I caught a pick that night, and I was all the way up front, and I remember Gene telling some guy that was with a girl, he was telling the guy, how old is she? How old is she? It was weird, like, I mean, it was his girlfriend. It was odd. Anyway, it was a good show. They played Young and Wasted. Eric Carr sang it. Good shit. Triumph with Molly Hatchet. That's another ticket I lost. I saw Triumph on the Allied Forces tour with Saxon Denim and Leather tour, and I lost that ticket. But this is the second time. Never Surrender, Molly Hatchet. This is when Danny Joe Brown was back. And and I saw Molly Hatchet with Bob Seger at the Miami Baseball Stadium. Another ticket I lost. Also REO Speedwagon at the Miami Baseball Stadium. I lost that ticket. I know there were a couple other. Journey with Aerosmith. I lost that ticket, though I still have a shirt of that show. A lot of baseball stadium shows I went to, I lost those tickets. That was way before these shows. But there you go. Triumph and Molly Hatchet. That was a great show. Now this was way better than the Peace of Mind tour. Power Slave. The epic Power Slave stage. Twisted Sister. They didn't go over too well. I mean, they were great, but D got in a fight with some guy in the front and wasted about 10 minutes on that bullshit. And then JJ French took the mic and told the people they weren't going to play the price. And people booed them. Other than that, they kicked ass. But Iron Maiden, phenomenal. Phenomenal. And I'm telling you this right now. That show was better than the Live After Death home video. I thought Bruce sang better. It was just the best time I saw Iron Maiden in the 80s. Hands down. Deep Purple with Girl School. Kind of like a mismatch, but I love Girl School. I'm a big fan of that early Girl School stuff. Deep Purple, only time I ever got to see Richie Blackmore with Deep Purple. That's another ticket I lost. Rainbow with Crocus. Straight Between the Eyes, One Vice at a Time. Lost that ticket, but that's the only time I saw Deep Purple with Richie Blackmore, and it was phenomenal. Great laser show. Great album, great comeback album, Perfect Strangers. Except Helix and Keel at the Sunrise Musical Theater. That was amazing. I saw Accept before this, actually. Didn't I see them? I saw them open for Dio. Maybe that's coming up. Maybe I got the years wrong. Yeah, I think they opened for Dio on the Sacred Right tour. That's when I saw them. Sacred Heart. Anyway, great show. This was a triple bill. Not the biggest Helix guy, but they were good. Keel was on fire, man. Keel was really good. Here's a ticket from California when I lived there for a little while. Odin. I saw Odin open band Soul Soldier. That was really good at the Country Club in LA. I also had a ticket for Guns N' Roses that I saw at the same time, which was 2 years before Appetite for Destruction. But I sold that ticket for, I believe it was $300 on eBay like 10 years ago. Should have took a picture of it, but either way, yeah, I saw Odin, and I love Odin, man. I know they got kind of cheesy and they're really bad in that movie, but that EP, Don't Take No for an Answer, I love it. All right, then we got AC/DC with Yngwie Malmsteen. Now, I lost this ticket too because I saw this same show at the LA Forum when I was in LA. Then when I came back to Florida, I saw it again at the Hollywood Sportatorium. This was Fly on the Wall. Yngwie Malmsteen was on Marching Out, but oddly enough, it was Mark Bowles singing that show, not Jeff Scott Soto. It was great, though. It was the first time I ever got to see Yngwie Malmsteen, and look how he spelled his name with an I. I know I knew how to spell it right. I don't know why the fuck I spelled an I there. He used to do a lot of drugs back then. Motley Crue Theater of Pain tour. This was This was the best Tommy Lee drum solo. You know, everybody talks about the spinning drum solo and, you know, when he's flying through the air. Now this one, what? You know, it was just better. No sound effects. He just kicked ass. Autograph opened this show, and I didn't think much of him. Kiss and Wasp Asylum tour. Last coming at the West Palm Beach Auditorium. Kiss had this humongous logo that night. Great show. It was a great show. Wasp was great. Wasp played Widowmaker. They had their heads, these huge heads on spikes behind them. It was a great damn show. Kiss and Wasp at West Palm Beach Auditorium. The same place I saw them on the Creatures of the Night tour. Alright, ZZ Top, right, is next? Yes. I lost that ticket too because I saw the El Loco tour. This is the second time I saw them. I don't think it's Eliminator, is it? Or maybe it's the album after Eliminator, Afterburner, I forget. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Memorable show. I remember the lasers during cheap sunglasses. It was kind of state-of-the-art back then. Good stuff. Aerosmith with Ted Nugent. I lost this ticket too. This is done with Mirrors tour, but I saw the Back in the Saddle tour with Black and Blue with Tommy Thayer at the Sunrise Musical Theater when they first got back together. Then they came back and played the Sportatorium, much bigger place, with Ted Nugent, Slammin' Show, My Fist Your Face. Ted Nugent was on fire. Great damn show. Stryper. This is the first time I saw Stryper, a Soldiers Under the Command tour, at the only time I've ever been to this venue. War Memorial Auditorium, which is still there to this day. But they never have concerts there, but they did that day. And it was great. I love Stryper. I have no shame in saying that. And it was really cool that they came down here because they weren't really that big yet. You know, this is Soldiers Under Command. This was not, what was that album? To Hell with the Devil, where they became bigger. And then we got, my friend gave me this ticket. I went to go see the 5150 tour. Didn't want it. I had no reason to go see it, but BTO opened. And I like BTO, so I went for that. Van Halen was terrible that night. I mean, I also went to see Eddie Do Eruption, but it was very disappointing. And I don't want to get into that. This is when I saw Accept again. This was a Sacred Heart tour, Ronnie James Dio with Accept, with the Big Dragon. Still a great show, but by this time, Vivian was out. Vivian did do the first half of the tour. This is the second half. The first half of the tour happened here at the Sportatorium while I was in LA. But when I came back, he came back to the Sportatorium, Craig Goldie. And so I did get to see the Sacred Heart tour. They did Time to Burn, which was a new song. Accept was awesome. Good show. Ozzy Osbourne, Queensryche. Now, this was when Ultimate Sin, when it was with Metallica. But Metallica left the tour and went to Europe, so we got Queensryche. I never got to see Cliff Burton, so I'm kind of bummed. But this was the first time I saw Queensryche, and I love Rage for Order, so at least I'm glad I got to see that. Wish it would have been Metallica, but I'm not complaining. Ozzy was good that night, too. Yeah. Alright, then we got up here, Triumph again with Bad Company, but that wasn't Paul Rogers. That was, oh man, I can't remember his name. He was in Ted Nugent. I believe this was Seven Thunders tour, or Thunder 7, whatever that album. Great show. That had the most badass laser light show I ever seen in any show. That was amazing. Triumph and Bad Company. Quiet Riot with Poison. This was already QR3. Poison wasn't big yet. And look how I spelled their name. Now I'm proud I misspelled the Poison name. Yeah, it was kind of a weak show all around. Both bands. This wasn't really a great show. David Lee Roth. This was Eat 'Em and Smile with Cinderella. I saw both nights, but I lost one of the tickets. I ended up in First Aid at the show where the show before this. He played 2 nights. I ended up in First Aid. I got way too drunk on Jack Daniels, but I did see the first night, so I lost a ticket to that show. And I didn't see it, so I don't deserve the ticket. But goddamn, what an amazing, amazing show Dave gave with that lineup. And Cinderella, man, I love that first album. They may look fruity, but Night Songs kicks ass. Nasty Savage. Now this is a historic show for me because this was the first show at the Cameo Theater, which is literally a couple blocks from my house. And Nasty Savage, I love Nasty Savage. Some of you who know Nasty Savage, you're saying, fuck yeah, they rule. This was the first show booked at the Cameo Theater, and there was so many epic underground shows coming up, as you will see in the tickets coming up. Judas Priest with Dokken. Now this was Turbo. Now look closely. You see right there, that 4? You see that smudge there? It's smudgy now, but back then, that was white out. I put white out there to get all the way up front row. That's how I would sneak up front. I would use white out on tickets. And look what white out turns into decades later. But it was a good show. It was a great show. Docking under lock and key, turbo. It kicked ass. Good shit. Alice Cooper. This is the first time I saw Alice Cooper with Vinnie Vincent's Invasion. This was New Year's Eve of 1986. I was all the way up front. I didn't have front row. What row did I have? It said row 0. Maybe I did have front row. Shit. I don't remember getting a front row ticket, but I was front row for that show. But it was amazing. No, it says section 104, right? Yeah, man, I snuck up on that shit. Alice Cooper was amazing with Kane Roberts, that muscle guy, and Kip Winger was on bass. All right, Iron Maiden. This is somewhere in time with Yngwie Malmsteen. Now, you know how I told you before, Yngwie Malmsteen opened the AC/DC show on the Marching Out tour, but it wasn't with Jeff Scott Soto who sang on Marching Out. It was Mark Bowles that sang on Trilogy. Well, this is the Trilogy tour, and Jeff Scott Soto sang this at this show. So it's weird how, you know, Mark Bowles sang the Marching Out tour, and then Jeff Scott Soto sang on the Trilogy tour, where they both, you know what I'm trying to say. Stryper again at Sunrise with Hurricane. This is when To Hell with the Devil first came out. Sunrise was a mid-pace thing, but To Hell with the Devil didn't quite blow up yet. When it did, they played West Palm Beach Auditorium, and I was there as well, and I'm sure you'll see that ticket coming up. Rat with Poison. I went to this twice. This was terrible both times. I mean, there was something really wrong with the sound of Rat. By this time, I didn't care about Poison, so I may have watched a little bit of it and then left. But Rat, man, I mean, I loved Warren D. Martini, you know, but there was something really bad with the sound that night. And I also saw Rat with Bon Jovi, where I didn't go in for Bon Jovi. I guess I lost that ticket as well, which was Invasion. And it was the same problem. They had a terrible sound. And then Megadeth. Now, at the Cameo Theater. Now, this was the second show, Megadeth. And Megadeth played 2 nights, as you can see here. And that was the Peace Cells Who's Buying. I'll never forget, like, the white wall in the back and the silhouette of Garth Samuelson bashing the fuck out of the drums. He was like an octopus. I saw it May 16th and May 17th, 2 nights, with Overkill taking over. King Diamond, first time I saw King Diamond, historical night for me. Abigail tour with Trouble, Run to the Light. What a mind-blowing show that was. I got to touch King's boot. General Mission, you know I was all the way up front. Alright, then West Palm Beach, Rat and Poison again. And again, a shitty sound, so I stopped going to see Rat after this. I did see them in the 90s and stuff, where the sound improved, but holy fuck, the sound system was terrible. Here, this is when Stryper got bigger, and they had Loudness and TNT open. Awesome show. TNT, Ronnie Latecro, great guitar player. Only time I ever got to see in TNT. And only time I got to see Loudness. Fraley's Comet at the Cameo Theater with White Lion. Now, this was so mind-blowing because, you know, Ace is my favorite member of Kiss, and then seeing him come out with Rip It Out, fucking lost my mind. He was so amazing that night. Yeah, I got way many more to go, a lot more tickets. Oh, look at all those tickets. But, you know, I am getting a little hoarse talking here, so let's stop for now. All right, that's enough for now. I still got many more tickets to go, and they'll be in the future. I'm not going to sit here and do all my tickets all tonight. That's all I'm doing tonight, what you just saw. But I will get around to doing it, hopefully when this whole pandemic is over, because I have all the time in the world, but, you know, I just get tired making long videos. Sorry. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to donate, my PayPal is in the description below. And if you want to subscribe, please do so. And click that little bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. SHMACKEMAGOB. Hey, check out my podcast, The VIERA Vault, on Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes. subscribe. The links are below.
Looking for some new podcasts to listen to? Well, Rat Salad Review Network has plenty of shows to choose from. Like Rat Salad Review, where they discuss the latest rock and metal news, as well as interviews and albums. Album vs. Album, the King Diamond Podcast, with Wayne Noon, Greg Norgal, and sometimes this guy.
SHMACKEMAGOB!
Ralph VIERA is also on our network with the VIERA Vault. There's also Old Man Metal's Musings, where he discusses heavy metal and beer. Music is Life with Lou Mavs. The Right Opinion for those who love politics. A South Park podcast called Suck My Balls. The Infinite Fringe, a watch-along wrestling show called Beyond Bushido. Ex-Stradivarius guitarist, the Timo Tolkki podcast. And the Great Harry Barnett with I Don't Even Like Podcasts. So check out ratsaladreview.com or search Rat Salad Review on YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and more.